What up, y'all? Happy Thursday. It's your girl, UC Kayla. Welcome to UC Kayla, to all my new subscribers. I'm so happy to have you here. And welcome back to all my old subscribers. Well, I shouldn't call y'all old. My faithful subscribers. It's so good to have you guys back. We're going to be doing season 4, episode 16, entitled Look Closely, guys. And I'm letting y'all know straight up, it's not going to be super long this week. I thought Tyler Perry was getting back in his groove. It was about to get good again. And then this week, I'm not saying it was a terrible episode. I'm just saying it wasn't a lot of excitement. So I'm going to do this like a sports show. We're going to do the highlight reels of every scene, and then we're going to move on. It's not going to be super in-depth. But before we get into it, if you have not already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you like coming here and hearing what I have to say. And don't forget to like, comment, and share if you like the content. I love your guys' feedback. Please don't ever feel like, oh gosh, I'm writing an essay in her comment. The reason why I started this channel is because I love to talk about sisters. So don't ever feel some type of way if you want to put a little extra in there, as long as it's significant points. And I really don't mind. I really enjoy reading you guys' comments. Also, if you're not following me on Twitter, you should be following me at @thatgirlKaylaD, because I tweet live during the show, as well as during the week. I'll just give my random thoughts on the show, other shows that I'm watching, and just other things. So if you want to keep up with Kayla, you should do it on Twitter. All right, guys, we're going to get into it. I'll start with the synopsis like I always do. And if you see me looking over at new people, I'm looking at my notes. Also, I have a bassinet behind me because I have kids. And my youngest is 1, and that's where his baby bag is. And I also drink water during my reviews. I hope none of that bothers you. Let's get into it. So, Sabrina realizes that Bio has a significant secret while Karen and Aaron draw closer. Kudos to Tyler Perry, because like the first time in 2 or 3 weeks, the synopsis is actually what happened in this episode. So great. All right, scene number 1, we start out where we ended last week in the supermarket with Sabrina and Danny, finding out that Bio is indeed an African prince. If y'all watch my other reviews, if you have not, go ahead and watch them. You'll know I don't have a lot to say about this. I think it's unoriginal. I don't care. It's giving Coming to America 3. And since Calvin is still going to be on the show, what makes us feel like this isn't going to be like every other time where Sabrina and Calvin ultimately get back together? So I'm not really investing a lot in this, guys. If I end up being wrong and there are significant things that come out later with Sabrina and Bio and he stays on the show, then I will come back and revisit some things. But right now we're going to keep it moving. All right, second scene, we're at the Fulton County Jail with Andi and Fatima. So the reason why they're still there is, yes, Fatima was released last week, but remember she asked to stay and see if Andi could get her in to see Zach. Well, it turns out Andi comes out, it's like, hey, I can't get you in until the morning. Fatima's like, hey, can you double check with Robin? So Andi does call Robin, and he confirms that it won't be until the morning that he can do anything for them. They also do their little flirtation, but anyway, Andi keeps her brief. She gets back to Fatima, it's like, hey, he can't do anything for us until in the morning. Fatima's like, okay, well, let me go get my phone. Andy's like, skirt, Hayden's still at the law firm. Do you want to do that? Fatima's like, you right. Then she also tries to stay there, in support of Zach and just wait on him to get out. And Andy's like, nope, you need to go home. I'll take you home. My opinion, I understand Fatima's, stance and her frustration. For one, she's in love and they're in new love and she just wants to be with her man, honey. If that means she got to sit out there all night. In addition to her feeling guilty because she feels like this is her fault. But Andi was a good friend to her because Fatima has been through an overwhelming amount of stress these past couple of days, and she needs to go home and she needs to shower, not just for hygienic reasons, but she needs to kind of come down off some of this drama. She needs to relax. She needs to rest. She's been in jail herself. So yeah, Andi did the right thing. All right, let's move on. The third scene, Maurice is at the club that he likes to go to, trying to get away from Q and probably Calvin too. He starts to talk to his friend Chris, who is the bartender, and tell him like what's going on with him and how he's trying to stay strong in the Q situation. And then guess who pops up? Calvin, one of the people he's trying to get away from. They go back and forth, have their usual banter. Maurice brings the funny like he always does, and that's the scene. I don't have much to say about that. That's what we get, in that setup. All right, next, scene number 4, we end up at Karen's apartment again with she and Aaron. At this point, Aaron has made it back with the pickles that she requested. I didn't see any ice cream, but I did see the pickles. However, I might not have been paying attention that well. Karen's eating her pickles, and apparently in the time span of him getting back and her eating that pickle, he's had enough time to do an in-depth portrait of Karen, self-portrait looking just like her. But not only is it a portrait, it's made of words of him writing down, his innermost feelings for Karen. Who knew that Aaron was a pro artist like that? But anyway, I guess Karen is an art lover because it overwhelms her to the point of tears, and she asked him to be intimate with her. And of course he complies because he wants to anyway. My opinion, like, what in the world is going on? Like, didn't Aaron, and what Aaron said through the portrait, that didn't sound any different from what he's been telling her all along, that he's going to be with her, he loves her, he's not going anywhere, da-da-da-da-da. I guess she's just an art lover. Like I said, I guess that's what it took to get her there. And now I guess maybe she feels like she knows him better. Or maybe not, because you know how Karen will do. She'll regret this in the morning. So there we go. Moving on. Scene number 5. We're going to spend 10 minutes in Andi's penthouse. For whatever reason, El Fuego comes by, does the sweep of her apartment. But before he starts, him and Andi have a brief exchange about Danny. And how bad Danny treats El Fuego. And then speaking of, Danny and Sabrina get there because they're coming to talk to Andi about Karen. El Fuego does his thing, but then he and Danny do have a conversation. And he, kind of stands his ground since she's trying to be nice again. He's like, you need to cook for me. I'm not taking you on a date. So she agrees to cook him dinner, and they're going to have a conversation and try to smooth things out between them. Keep moving. Then the sisters have a conversation about Karen and decide to go pop up on Karen because apparently nobody has heard from Karen all day. Side note, I guess Andi forgot that Karen was in fact at her office earlier that day when Zach was getting arrested. Maybe she forgot. Anyway, the scene ends when Andi calls Robin and tries to cancel their plans, but she ends up just inviting him over later to her penthouse. So my opinion, as much as I love Andi, I have no idea why we were here in this scene for 10 minutes. Like, let me know in the comments, y'all, if I missed anything significant. I may have, because I zoned out like 3 times, I'm not gonna lie. But nothing really happened significantly to me in this scene, in my opinion. I don't think that El Fuego is actually connected to Gary. Just based on the scene, and then in a preview that we'll discuss at the end of the episode review, we're going to see Gary looking through a telescope to spy on Andi. So did he find some things and get rid of them? Or why is Gary using a telescope? If he was spying on Andi, so I just don't see the connection between El Fuego and Gary. But I'm telling y'all, I stopped paying attention for a little while. I was like on Twitter reading other people's tweets because I felt like nothing was going on. Anyway, as far as the sisters' conversation about Karen, and I tweeted this as well, it's like, they're crazier than Karen. Like, they're as delusional as Karen is. Because what can y'all say to Karen that y'all have either not already said, or that's going to make a difference in her mind about Zach? Like, Karen doesn't listen to anybody about Zach, including Zach. So, like, what was the point of this meeting? Like, if y'all just wanted to get together and gossip, just say that. But, like, this is not going to be a point of resolution. And then it's the fact of how intrusive they are in their 30s with each other. Like, oh, we haven't heard from her all day. Let's go pop up at her house. Y'all can text her, call her, hit her on a FaceTime. Like, I feel like there's other measures you could take, especially with Andi knowing that you talked to her earlier that day. But no, let's just literally go show up in person uninvited at her house, knowing how her attitude is. But hey, that's just me. Who am I? And then lastly, with Danny and El Fuego, at this point, like I said, I was team Destin. I still am if they want to get it together, but I can't care more than they do. But no matter who Danny's with, and I tweeted this, I want her to leave the elementary school approach to men on the playground where she found it. Like, I'm going to be mean to you because I like you. Like, girl, you too old for that. Can we stop? I don't care if it's El Fuego. What's the policeman name? Start with an L. Anyway, him, Preston. Oh, Logan. I don't care who it is. She does the same thing every time. And it's not any guy we've seen her with since this show started. If I like you, I'm going to be rude to you. It's like, girl, we're tired. And I love you, Danny, but I'm tired, sis. I'm tired. All right. Next scene, we're having a sit down with Robin and Hayden at the law firm. Hayden, Robin comes into Hayden's office and now he's playing nice. Starts to question Hayden about the whole fight that just happened between he and Zach. And then Hayden, because he's a loser and doesn't have any friends, he immediately goes into, locker room mode like he has a new homeboy and starts lying on Fatima, claiming that she's jealous and, this is why I only date white girls, as if they wouldn't want him either. And, leaving out everything he's done to cause, these reactions from Zach and Fatima. But obviously we know that Robin knows the truth. He doesn't know that, and that he's messing with Hayden. Hayden then tries to play on Robin's intelligence, like, while I'm faking being your friend, oh, I know about you and Andi. And Robin gets them all to go together and it's like, no, I'm not messing with Andi. As a matter of fact, I'm gay, which really throws Hayden off. And then Robin puts the icing on the cake and does this super long, awkward stare that has Hayden so uncomfortable. Like he was ready to leave his own office, And that was the scene. In my opinion, I enjoyed Robin. I tweeted last night, I was like, Robin is everything. Anybody that can make a fool out of Hayden is all right with me. So anyway, like I've said before, can't wait to see how this unfolds. The 7th scene, we finally get a Fatima scene. It was cute, I'm not gonna lie, but it was too short. And I wanted a face-to-face reunion as a Fatima fan, and I did tweet that. But we'll take it anyway. Zach calls Fatima from jail. She's back at her apartment, not at Zach's place. Fatima's super sad, of course, and she's apologetic to Zach because she feels like this is all her fault, because Hayden is part of her baggage. But Zach reassures Fatima, that it's not her fault. He made it his own decision based on his emotions and his affections for her. They exchange a few I love yous, and Zach tries to get Fatima, to get back on the positivity train. Focus on the positive. And then, of course, because he's in jail, his time expires. And when the phone disconnects, we see Zach kind of like banging the receiver to hang it up. Shout out to DeVal for that acting, Now, as far as my opinion, as a Fatima fan, like I said, I was mad at the length of the scene and the fact that it wasn't face-to-face, but it was cute, and I feel like it reignited that love spark. Those feels that we first had for the Fatima, I felt that being reignited with that scene. DeVal and Crystal do a wonderful job at that. Because this man, y'all have to remember, has been married for like coming up on 12 years or so. He's been with his wife, Kadeen, for 20 years, and Crystal is single or whatever. She's doing her own thing, but they feel like a real couple. So, everybody's not a Fatima fan, but I just like to give people props where props are due. They make it feel organic and like real love. But anyway, I think that Zach slamming that phone receiver down, it wasn't directed at Fatima. I think it was just like, okay, his frustration with Hayden, his frustration with his current situation, knowing that he has a record and he's been arrested again. And then just like, I finally am getting my life on track. I'm doing well. I have money. I just got my new house and car and all this stuff. And now I'm back in jail again. So I think that that's why he slammed the phone down, because he knew he couldn't talk. He knows Fatima, they haven't known each other forever, but he knows her well enough to know that if he started rambling off those frustrations to her on the phone, she would have taken it personally, because she's already feeling bad and feeling guilty because Hayden, was connected to her as far as the drama coming into the relationship. So he just couldn't say it to her, That's how I feel. I don't feel like he was being dishonest with Fatima about really feeling like it was her fault. But that's my opinion. I hope that Tyler Perry doesn't change that, because it's, it's really technically not. All right. Now, last scene, we end, in a very crass conversation between Q and Calvin. And I understand this is a show for adults, but I'm not getting into all the specifics of the conversation. The same old stuff. But then it kind of like took a turn. And I'm just like, okay, it's not the fact that, if they're homosexual people on the show or whatever like that, that's not an issue, because I watched Tyler Perry shows. I watched the Have and Have Nots and other shows where this has come up. I watched The Oval. That's not the issue. The issue here for me is, first of all, Calvin been fighting and advocating for himself since season 1. Like, oh, I'm straight. Why would Tyler Perry waste our time like this? Now, let me preface by saying this. I don't think anything's going to happen between them. I think he's just, just trying to play with us. But if something does happen, my thing is like, why would he waste our time? Because we didn't have no problem believing in season 1 that Calvin was gay. we was all like Sabrina, like, okay, boo, that's what you do. Just say that's what you do and let's all move on. So I'm gonna be really upset with Tyler Perry, not, for if that's going to be, if he is going to be a gay character on the show, it's for wasting our time. Because we told you since season 1 you was gay. So that's all I'm saying. But anyway, y'all let me know in the comments how you feel. It has nothing to do with that. It's just like, that's not that far-fetched for Calvin. So did we have to go through all this with him and Sabrina that we didn't even want to go through in the first place? But anyway, y'all know what I'm saying. The people who are faithful viewers know what I'm saying. I hope nobody took that the wrong way, but I'm going to say what I say, and that's what I said, and I said what I said. But honestly, that's how I feel. Now with Q, I don't put anything past Q because you can't trust him. And that's why it's stupid the fact that he's even living in that house and that he's still on the show, because Q is a thief and a liar and a common criminal. So is that surprising to me that he was just trying to seduce Maurice and acting like he's changed and all this kind of stuff, and he want to be there for Maurice, but now he back to talking about he's a cash sexual and trying to, get something going on with Calvin, knowing that him and Maurice are friends? No, that's not surprising to me. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I mean, I hope this is Tyler Perry's way of getting Q off the show. Maybe Maurice will come in there and kill him or something. No, I'm just playing, but still, like, it's a lot going on that we don't need, because it's just like Q ain't no good, and we already knew that. Like, we don't need this situation to prove that Q ain't no good, and it didn't take this situation if he want Calvin to end up being gay for us to think that. So done with that. Now, the preview for next week's episode, we see Andi and Robin start to get a little spicy. They're getting intimate, and we see Gary looking through a telescope, like I said. So we can assume that he's spying on them, and then Jake walks in on Gary. It's like, hey, and Gary gets startled. So he probably is looking at them. He's a weirdo and a creeper and a stalker and a control freak. So we'll see what happens. I don't put anything past Gary anymore either. Next, Maurice comes into his bedroom and screams in a horror, looking towards the bed. Now, I tweeted this last night. Like I just said, I don't think anything really is going to happen, because it just doesn't make sense for Tyler Perry to have put us through all this with Calvin to be, I guess the message behind the message is to be accepting of heterosexual men who, they have the metrosexual vibes, or they're more in touch with their feminine side or whatever, but they're still straight. So I don't see the point of Tyler Perry making him change like this or whatever, or where that's going to go. So I think what's going to happen is Maurice is going to walk in, he going to scream or whatever like that, because they will actually be in the bed together. But then it's going to turn out nothing happens, Maurice overreacted. But they still shouldn't have been in that situation, but like, it's not going to be all the way. We'll see. If not, they both going to be homeless, and that'll be entertaining to watch as well. Next, Robin's majority ownership is announced at the law firm. And we see Hayden congratulate Robin, and then we see we see Robin telling Hayden, this is going to be fun, And this also, guys, this is just from the preview at the end of the episode. I don't have the the video clip from the little short, 15-second trailer they showed during the middle of, all the Queen's Men. I don't have that one. Lastly, some man, I'm not sure who this is in the holding room with Zach, Fatima, and Andi, and I think he's an attorney, obviously, and he informs Zach that he was put back on probation. They're looking at 10 to 15 years for him in jail. My opinion, I just feel like Tyler Perry need to stop playing with us, because how's somebody going to be back on probation and they didn't know it? Now, I don't have a whole lot of experience in those scenarios, but, I know a couple things, and the court has to let somebody know if they're on probation. Like, you don't just not know. So had he not gotten in a fight with Hayden, he wouldn't know that he's on probation. Like, make it make sense to me. And he hasn't gone to court from this arrest, so if he's saying you're back on probation from this arrest, make that make sense. And he paid that child support, even though we still don't even know why he had to pay that, because I ain't never heard of nobody being on child support where they ain't signed a birth certificate, they did take a DNA test, they don't even know the person. The state agency never contacted them at all in any way saying, we're looking for you to put you on child support. I ain't never seen that before. They didn't get no missed court date notifications or nothing. So anyway, Tyler Perry, you got to make it make sense. Now, if you're going to keep throwing these legal things in there, get some people to school you on how things go. But anyway, y'all, next week is season 4, episode 17. It's entitled Some Sort of Women. And the synopsis is Calvin finds himself in an uncomfortable situation with Q after a night of drinking. So we'll see what happens, y'all. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. This is a little shorter than they usually are, and I was trying to get y'all out of here in even shorter than this, but I had to make my stance clear on Calvin and, you know, Q, because I said what I said, and then I'm not going back and forth with nobody over it. That's my opinion. So y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments about this episode. Was it giving like the last couple weeks have been? Or is it starting to get dry again? Any other thing that you wanted to discuss? Did I miss anything in that long scene at Andy's house where I stopped paying attention a couple times? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on Monday with my hot topic video. See you guys soon.